With regard to copy certification requirements, a notarial officer who certifies or attests to a copy of a record or an item that was copied shall determine that the copy is a full, true, and accurate transcription or reproduction of the record or item. With respect to forms of identification, a notarial officer who takes an acknowledgement or verification of a record, or who witnesses or attests to a signature, shall determine, from personal knowledge or satisfactory evidence of the identity of the individual, that the individual appearing before the officer and making the acknowledgement has the identity claimed, and that the signature on the record is the signature of the individual. Satisfactory forms of identification are as follows. Personal knowledge. A notarial officer has personal knowledge of the identity of an individual appearing before the notarial officer if the individual is personally known to the notarial officer through dealings sufficient to provide reasonable certainty that the individual has the identity claimed. Documentation. A notarial officer has satisfactory evidence of the identity of an individual appearing before the notarial officer if the notarial officer can identify the individual by means of a passport, driver's license, or government-issued non-driver identification card, which is current or expired not more than 3 years before the performance of the notarial act, or another form of government-issued identification, which is current or expired not more than 3 years before the performance of the notarial act, and which contains the individual's signature or a photograph of the individual's face, and is satisfactory to the notarial officer, or a verification of oath or affirmation of a credible witness personally appearing before the notarial officer or using communication technology to appear before the notarial officer and personally known to the notarial officer, or whom the notarial officer can identify based on a passport, driver's license, or government-issued non-driver identification card, which is current or expired not more than 3 years before the performance of the notarial act. A notarial officer may require an individual to provide additional information or identification credentials necessary to assure the notarial officer of the identity of the individual,